Right, I've already made this video, but when I first did it, I looked back and I thought, that's fucking shit, and the point I'm trying to make is not being made. So, round two. Today's video, I want to talk essentially about the rat race, but the way that I want to go around this is not in a way that sounds pompous and detached and unrealistic, because I think the rat race as a saying is a bit of a funny one, because in many respects it is totally detracted from the necessity of life and just the way that the world works. No one, or not everyone rather, can just go and start their own business and ho-hum ride off into the sunset. That's not the way things work, on two fronts. Of one, it literally can't happen, doesn't make any sense, and two, not everyone wants that. So to preface this video, before I go anywhere, what I am intending to do here is in no way, shape or form denigrate or castigate those who have no interest in progressing in the areas I'm about to talk about. I have a tremendous amount of respect for the person who thinks, I might not like the job that I'm doing, but I want to do it so that I can provide for my family and go out on the weekends, and fair fucks. I think you be here to be happy, and I'm not going to say anything against that point at all. What I am going to say in today's video is, for those of us who want to strive for something that very much sits outside the sense of the norm, so something along the lines of starting your own business or something like a podcast or any of these things that you wouldn't typically find in a job interview setting, something just left of field, this video intends to provide said people with an outline of how to react to people who ridicule them or say negative things towards them because of the fact they are not conforming in the typical sense. Now, for context, I shall lay the foreground of why this is important to me and why I want to talk about this today. I am someone who, like pretty much I would wage everyone watching this video, has their wants and desires and they have their necessities. So what I mean by that is I have a couple jobs that keep me afloat and essentially allow me the time and the luxury to be able to do this, which is what I want to take forward. But that means I have essentially got one foot in the door and one foot on the other side of the door. I'm in both parties when it comes to this, and I have to be, because otherwise I'd be homeless. So my thought has come today from the fact that, and this is going to sound pretty petty and quite arrogant, but if it can come out in a good lesson for you, then it's worth my pettiness. I am someone who I would say has a pretty shit work ethic if I don't care about what it is I'm working on. I'm not willing to put a great deal of energy towards things like work because I see them as a means to an end, meaning I will do what I have to do, but not much more. Unless it is for the sake of kindness to a person I like, I'm not going to put myself out because I value my energy in using it for something that I want to use it for. I very much feel as though we are pushed toward conformity, and in many respects that is done through guilt tripping. People think that you have to work perilously hard on things because you've been told to, and I personally think you should work hard on what you want to work hard on, because that is the thing that will get you where you want to go. Today, I was faced with the accusation, I suppose, of having a poor work ethic. And this is where it gets petty. That really pissed me off, because I routinely sit in here making these videos and putting all of the work in to make these videos via editing and all of the shit that comes with this for like 5 or 6 hours a day, quite a lot of the time. So to hear that pissed me off, because hearing someone say your work ethic is poor because you don't care about your job as much as your own craft is really annoying, particularly when it comes from certain places. And it got me thinking. A lot of the time, in fact, pretty much all of the time, if you're someone who is going for something atypical, the people around you are going to have no fucking clue why you're doing what you're doing. And as a result of that, you are going to feel like you're doing something wrong because you're not doing what is normal. And before I go anywhere further with this, I'm going to tell you about a quote that I literally just saw before I made this video, which kind of made me think I should probably go back and readdress this. It is essentially that when one person has a poor idea or has an unstable state of mind, we call that a mental illness. When the entirety of society has an idea like this, we call it the norm. Now, what I want to say as sort of an attachment to that quote is, if you are doing something that stands to polarize what most people do, you are going to, in many respects, feel abnormal. And quite a lot of the time, not in the best of ways. You won't feel it in the best of ways until you do, until it works. And that's hard for people to navigate. It's certainly difficult for me to navigate because you feel outcasted. And in many respects, you are outcasted. And what I wanted to say in today's video is essentially how to navigate that in a way that keeps you focused on your goals and eliminates as much of the discomfort there as possible. I'm not going to lie and say that you can get rid of all of it, because you can't, but there are ways that you can make things easier for yourself. So, first of all, before we go anywhere on that point, I want to make it obvious that whenever you address someone on a point like this, you must act with complete and total respect. Just because you disagree with someone, or just because someone says something that is ridiculing to you, does not mean that you have the license to be rude to them, and you shouldn't want to be either, because it's a great reflection of yourself on how you deal with people when you're annoyed. So just pro tip, or a retard tip that has professional aspects to it: be respectful whenever anyone talks to you about this. If someone says any point against your craft, or asks you why you're doing that, or why are you not choosing the more conventional role, why are you not doing something why are you not just making sure that you've got the best CV possible, when someone says that, you don't need to explain yourself to them. But if you want to, just say to them, look, that doesn't work for me, and I would like to do this, and if this doesn't work, then I shall reconsider, and I shall go again, I shall try something again. And if you are required to explain any further than that, you have full license to shut that conversation down and say, look, that's my opinion, and that's all I have to say. I appreciate your looking out for me, but that is the extent of my opinion here. I felt today very pissed off with feeling like I had been targeted by someone who has, with all due respect, very little concept of the amount of work and the amount of effort that I put into a lot of things. That really pissed me off. And I think a lot of people would fall into this same cluster of getting pissed off with getting labelled and ousted, when in actual fact you are doing the good thing. You're the one that's deciding to push forward and do something for yourself. And a lot of the time, unfortunately, those of us that are progressing in the right direction feel as though we aren't, because in order to progress in the right direction, you have to embrace uncertainty. And most people will refuse to do that blatantly and will take a path of consistent mediocrity. Now, that sounds pricky, so I want to refer you to what it is that I said at the start of this video. This is no shade to be thrown on that. But these people will not understand what it feels like, or what it is like, to go for something because you want to go for it, and have that sense of uncertainty embraced, because they haven't done it. And as a result of that, you should not hold these people to try and understand what it is you're doing. That's not what you're here for. If you're working at something that people don't understand, you don't need to explain yourself, and you don't need to try and make people believe what you're doing. You just need to do it yourself. Don't get too annoyed with people when they are castigating of your bold plans. People will laugh, people will make comments, people will speculate, and you will see it happen right in front of you. I've seen plenty of people furrow their brow at the prospect of, you're going to sit and talk in front of a camera? What? no one has ever said that, of course, but you can see the cogs whirring, and you can see that people are not at all on board with the idea of you pushing it forward into something prolific. And that's fine. They don't have to be. That's the thing that I've learnt recently is, as someone who deeply cares about what people think, and I would be a prick to say you shouldn't care what people think, because we do. We're a social creature, we can't help it. As someone who does, I think I'm particularly sensitive to that, I have recently realised that one of the most important things I can instill within myself, and that you should, if this is something you're struggling with, instill within yourself, is to appreciate that people are going to have their things to say, and that's all right. You don't need to convert them, and you don't need to try and get on board with them. You can just hold respect between that relationship or between that interaction, and you don't need to say any more on the point. I hope in today's video I have retouched the ground I was trying to touch without sounding too pricky, because I don't want it to feel like a shit piece on people that are just getting conventional jobs, because love to all. I mean no sense of shittery here at all. But I know there are a lot of people out there who are doing something particularly left of field, and as a result feel outcasted, and to that end this video is for those people. I want you to feel understood in your annoyances, because if you are, then you can keep pushing forward. The lesson to derive from this is just keep doing what you're doing. People don't have to believe in you, and people don't even have to understand what you're doing. They don't have to. Don't try and make them understand. Just keep doing your thing. And I would add, if the thing you're doing at any point doesn't turn out the way you thought it would, just pivot. Just pivot and go again. You've got a sense of mind, a state of mind even, that is impervious because of the nature that you are. If you're someone who's going for something that is not the norm, then you're already you're a beast. So act beastly and keep going. With that being said, I don't want this to ramble on for too long, so if you enjoyed this, drop a like. If you want me to talk about any other shit, drop a comment. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed. Laters!